Hello YouTubers, my name is Axe Factor. Welcome to some Battlefield 4 Classic Mode Rush and Operation Mortar. The first set of MCOMs is arguably the hardest. It's so important to kill as many people out the break and get established on both islands, not just the one that I'm on, but the one that I'm looking at where the actual MCOMs are, because this sets up crossfire lanes. One thing I love about Classic Mode is it's super easy to get health. There's going to be a how to get health in Classic Mode coming up a little bit later in this round. One thing that complicates Operation Mortar in the first set of MCOMs for Classic Mode is you're only allowed to spawn on your squad leader. If your entire squad is dead, except for one person, and it's not the squad leader, you can't spawn on them. You have to wait for your squad leader to spawn on him, and then you have the opportunity to spawn on them. So if it's flashing last member alive or last squad member alive, make sure you hide and you're in a decent spot, because the worst thing that can absolutely happen is a squad wipe. You don't have a beacon, or the Amtrak's not set up, or somebody's not sitting in a rib. You have to spawn all the way back, and that's something people forget about. Ribs and attack boats both are community spawn points. It's not just the Amtrak. So if your squad's in trouble, just jump in the rib. It doesn't matter if you're squad leader or not. Not only can your squad spawn there, but the rest of your team can too. And that's something that really complicates Classic Mode for the attackers, because the defenders, they've got decent spawn. They're pretty close. They're behind cover for the majority of this, unless those crossfire lanes are set up, and that's why it's equally important to have both sides of that island. So because we had that, because we put decent pressure on, we cleared them out. And I think I've really fallen in love with DMRs, with the Coyote Optic. This is the MK, or Mark 11 DMR, one of the only ones that I've got 500 kills with, and I've done really well long range. Specifically because there's no 3D spotting in Classic Mode. But if you do spot somebody, they will show up on the mini-map, whether you're using a MAV or spamming spot, or you're sitting in your optic trying to spot enemy players. And I've talked about this before. I bring up the big map all the time. It's actually bound to the tilt of my mouse wheel, which is really handy, especially when you're trying to figure out where enemy vehicles are, because no matter what the zoom level of your mini-map that you can change, you're probably not going to see everything you want to see unless you're this close playing some rush, which really comes into handy. So I talked about hiding in bushes, and it changes the way Classic Mode does how you retreat and use cover, basically. If you're not spotted, you can simply hide in the bush or go prone in the bush or behind just a little bit of cover or some of this terrain or deformation of the terrain. It really comes in handy, especially when you're trying to fight mid to long range fights with the DMR, where you get the most bonus standing still and slowing your shot. If you're strafing with the DMR and shooting at all, you're blowing the best thing about this thing, which is a decent velocity and very high accuracy. If you're strafing and spamming, you're the type of DMR user that everybody hopes and prays they get, because it's making a lot of noise, but you're not going to hit anything. The pilot here did a really good job driving us back and forth and keeping us out of threat, because the worst thing that can happen, not so much the straws, but the javelin lock. It can absolutely take you off. So how about a little bit of up close and personal? The DMR, I've talked about this several different times. It's tough when there's multiple targets. If I had an automatic weapon such as the AEK, the MG4, the M240B, AK-5C, or any other carbine or assault rifle, I could just hose those guys down instantly and basically gone back to the third target if there was one. So the DMR, I've really found, plays a medium role for me. I'm not going to go up close. I don't want to be the first guy in a corner knowing there's 3 guys around that corner, because I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. And this is how you get health in Classic Mode. And I actually made the mistake. I didn't notice that, but he actually dropped a health pack. You do not auto-regen in Classic Mode. Your health stays at what it is, whether it's your vehicle or your body, your person, until you find a health pack or actually get out and repair tool. Makes it a lot different dynamic, especially for jets and attack helicopters. I've showcased some Classic Mode before when I went on an absolute tear with a jet at 35 health for the majority of the round. So that's tough. It's kind of a buff to the little bird and the scouts, who can have 2 guys hanging out and just healing off the side. And here's a little bit of Pew Pew right there. But I go down. The good news is I'm going to get popped really quick with a revive. And that's the nice thing about Classic Mode that I also like. There's no 3D spotting. There is no auto regen on the health. And there is also no kill cam. Obviously, I knew where that guy came because he was right in front of me. And here's a little more Pew Pew for us as I'm trying to dance all day on the health packs. That's a change that they made on CTE, I believe, is the way the big bag works. it will no longer heal you if you're in a suppressed state, which usually takes about 8 seconds if you're suppressed to fall off. So that's a change that's going to be coming into the game. And as always, Chef X Factor likes to do some cooking here and now. I've been using incendiaries more and more because it really clears out corners. People tend to play corners a lot, which the airburst comes in handy, but so do the incendiaries. When I find out if there are guys there might be the auto cue. How about the basically hit marker going nuts through the walls, and just a little bit more pew pew for the end. This is the easiest set of MCOMs. Hopefully you guys enjoyed me mixing it up with a little bit of DMR action. As always, YouTubers, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Pew pew.